Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Teresa, and here's her story. Hello, Ollie. I wanted to share some thoughts on how the human condition has been manipulated by appealing to everyone's predilections, both good and bad. To me, religion was just a way for leaders to seize power, but in a cloying, disingenuous way. Yeah, I mean, I always believe that religion is just not. It's just a power grab. It's a power grab through faith, through spirituality, through something that can't be proven but you must believe. Rather than admit they want adulation and obedience for themselves, they elevate their status as a sort of intermediary between the masses and God. That way it doesn't look like they are making law, but in behalf on an unseen entity. So you're not going against them, but against God. How you live your life doesn't matter. That's as above, so below, right? As long as you agree with them, it's all good because you have faith. What a great way to excuse everything they've done. Like I've discussed this, like as far as the religious narcissist goes. The religious narcissist is an atheist. The religious narcissist, this Bible-thumping narcissist, doesn't actually believe in God. The religious narcissist wants you to believe they have a connection to God. Therefore, they're God. So by disobeying them, you are disobeying God. So they make themselves God by proxy. They don't actually believe in God. They're just using, as you say, using religion as a power tool. I'm surprised you haven't seen those videos about religion that I've done, because I've done videos specifically on that religious narcissists are actually atheists because they're just using it to make themselves God. People want the confirmation bias of hearing what they already know or believe. As a contrarian child, I never liked the lazy rationalizing that any other beliefs, cultures, and traditions were just wrong or crazy. I knew if that is what I told, then that's what all other things were being told about the way we lived. Right. Like when I was a kid, like I had to go through CCD, I had to go through communion and confirmation and all that nonsense. And I'll never say, I'm not saying I didn't believe in God, but I sure as hell didn't believe in the story of these religions. I believed in in a lot of the 10 Commandments and the tenets of the religion because they were just about basic morality. Like, who's going to argue not to kill, not to steal, not to cheat on your wife, not to, you know, when you get in the denial, worship no other God except the one. Like, that's where you get into the control thing. But most of the tenets of religion are just about basic morality. And it's a way to control the masses. But even as a child, as I'm sitting through this and I'm hearing about, Noah's Ark, and I'm like, wait a minute, why how does this guy live to 600 years old and then build this? And no. And I've talked about what a lot of my real feelings are on where we come from and spirituality and all that in other videos. I think it's a lot more technical than that, Personally, and I've said this, I think we have been an advanced. I think humans have been on this planet a lot longer than they say we have. Okay, you can look at things like the water markings on the pyramids in Egypt, and it from when the area was wet, and it doesn't match up to their timelines. It doesn't. I think there's been catastrophic incidents that have nearly wiped out humanity several times over. And religion is like these after effects stories that have been used to control what little population was left, and it just grows and grows, you know? Things like the ark sounds more like leftover technology than anything else. The tribal need to have people on your side is very insular and self-preserving instinct. But there was one truth, there would be no need, if there was one truth, there would be no need for proselytizing, missionaries, tomes, and conquering. Even animals have an ideal for living. Humans have made it impossibly complicated with rituals, tithing, and endlessly contradicting itself. This always made me think they are just making it up as they go along. Each empire imposes its own will, under the guise we need them more than they need us. I had a habit of ruminating about how religion made people submit to these man-made systems through a guilty conscience. To the victor goes the spoils. They want to keep all the wealth, land, and history to themselves, but to do that, everyone else has to go along with it. So if the powers that be now replace this with RFID chips, cameras, and Big Brother, then the primitive desert cults can be cycled out. They have outlived their usefulness. And I'll tell you this, with the technology, the cameras, and Big Brother, I'll tell you what, if you notice, there's more and more stories about these UFOs being spotted by military, by pilots, and it's getting mainstream press. And I think the reason they're doing that is, well, obviously, with the universe the size it is, I mean, I believe there's other life forms, intelligent life forms, and they probably have come here and may come here. Who knows? But it'd be a good way to get these religious people off God and off spirituality by trying to prove there's life, there's aliens, and that's what it is. And it's to be replaced, any morality to be replaced with technology, which is scary as well. I mean, I'm not saying there's no such thing as God, and, I'm not at all. But I'm telling you, I think that's what might be happening, is they're trying to erase it and erase the morality that goes along with it. And what they're going to need is these religious people that respond to religion in a cult-like fashion. They're going to need to harness them into something else, probably into Big Brother. People want to be led. That's the sad reality of the world. Most humans need to be led by something. When humanity worked with nature instead, if against it, people either adapted to the environment or perished. There was a healthy respect for what was killed and harvested. Bees and birds pollinated, animals hibernate and migrated. And when an individual perished, they went back into the earth, or they sent you out on an ice floe. What I'm saying is, the more everyone insists we are advanced, the more obvious we are just as base and primitive as ever. Every mother's child dies, every testament and monument to man falls. The inability to accept that and the misguided drive to have a legacy is the internal futile struggle for all of us. We are losing what shred of humanity we have left, because the more people live through screens, the less common experiences we share. Right. And especially if you're looking through a screen at this channel all day, it's really gonna mess with your head. For good or bad, when people worked together, you saw who was vetted, respect was earned. To be old and weathered was earned because it meant you were no joke, you had much wisdom and deserved reverence. It's been inverted now with children being turned against elders. The media now tells kids they're the smart ones and they will be enlightened and they will be the enlightened and illuminated ones. Oh, of course. I mean, look at the commercials. I mean, you could see the social structure in commercials of who's smartest to dumbest. Okay. White man, bottom of the barrel, dumb. Okay. Followed by Asian man, and then it goes on and on and on. Any of these men could be told off by any child. Any child can tell off any adult from the front of the line, which would be probably minority women, black women, Latino women, as you go down the line of watch the commercial. Watch for the dumb white guy being schooled by either the female, the minority and the white female schools the white male. Minorities then can school the white female. Minority men can school the white female. Minority women can school any male. Okay, black women can school any minority woman and any male. Okay, and a child can school them all. That's the watch a commercial. Watch a commercial. Tell me I'm wrong. I would say 95% of them are set up that way. Who is going to have kids in the brave new world now? In Canada, if your 5-year-old son tells you he's really a girl and you object, the government can confiscate them. Like Reagan said, the scariest thing you hear is, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you. And remember how that whole debate started. We're not here to transform your children. Whatever they're telling you they're not here to do is what they're here to do. But people do for security. They gave up all their rights. Like Franklin observes, soon we have neither. Right, and Canada never had the rights we had in this country, in America. They just didn't. What academia has done is take universal truths and observable reality and gave it all names, so now people can repeat back what they've told. What they've told, but who otherwise never come to these conclusions on their own. Same with spirituality. It was hijacked. L. Ron Hubbard said, if you want to get rich, don't start a business, start a religion. From symbols to language, it's all somebody else's reality. It's a mere illusion. We are all limited in our own experience, and since not everybody can be right, I could assume no one is. But we are just too stubborn to entertain that thought. Listen, there's a lot of religion, and there's a lot of this. People will lock into a lot of things like that, whether it be religion or feminism or what's another good one? Pitbullism. These people that want to preach to you. Preach it at you. Veganism, vegetarianism. These people, the things that become these cult-like behaviors. The more we live through screens, the less people interact in real life. There is a term called the exposure effect, but it is a blatantly obvious phenomenon. When people were limited to what was in their immediate vicinity, they automatically kept each other in check and got to know others on a deeper level. That's the only way you saw past flaws or other defects. You got used to them, and it was simple as that. Our brains really aren't wired for endless options. This is an unsustainable model. We have lost touch with the limitations of life in terms of both time and physiology. In a climate-controlled, comfortable existence, of course, people want to ride it till the wheels fall off. They voted in benefits, a kick the can down the road mentality. But it got so top-heavy, the new generations cannot support the weight and start their lives at the same time. Even though I identify with the ethicist ideology, I'm sorry, my head is still spinning. I assure you, I am not saying this to be edgy or nihilistic. It just seems to be the only logical model. There is a disconnect and a disdain for the suffering of life, and people want to avoid it at all costs. But to live a sheltered, pampered life is all exploitation-based, no matter how removed we make ourselves from it. After all, someone has to do the heavy lifting. If I may be a reductionist for a moment, Teresa, did you swallow a thesaurus? What happened in this? Like, I know I'm on meds, but geez. If I may be a reductionist for a moment, I used to compare it to an indoor-outdoor analogy. It is better to be the indoor dog sitting on a pillow with all your needs met. There is no strife or hardship, but there is also no freedom or the pride that comes with overcoming adversity. Or is it better to be the outdoor dog? You may not live as long, but you feel the dirt under your paws, the breed under your fur, and the appreciation for every day. Right. What's the point of living to 95 years old if you're going to be locked away from the world? Is that the life you want to live? To have one way of life, you have to give up another. Now people are starting to see themselves as stars, and everyone else is just annoying nuisances to be used and discarded. Instead of looking inward and seeing everyone has individual detriments and privileges, they are mired in revenge fantasies. Social media is stirring the pot, selling the false narrative that everyone else is having fun and living carefree lives, which not only is not true, is causing resentment on a grand scale. Well, because everybody goes on social media and lies, and everybody's believing the lie of a life that you're shown. So what's pissing you off? So what's making you jealous? So one person's lies on Facebook that's making you jealous. Okay, whatever your lies are on Facebook is making someone else jealous. And I'm not saying you're necessarily lying on Facebook, Teresa. I'm saying this is how this works. And everybody's making everyone else miserable, trying to fake a life online instead of trying to live a life for real. So yeah, everybody's making each other jealous with your fake, phony lives. Okay, yet you're all miserable. I'm not saying you specifically, but I'm saying society in general. That's what's going on. One of my favorite quotes is, hate is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. When people were alone or ostracized, the idea there was a known, unknown spirit who still loved them was their comfort. Then when celebrity was expanded to radio and TV, it tripwired our brains and you had to have companionship. And I'll tell you this, Teresa. I'll tell you this. personally, since I've deleted the Facebook, okay, it's kind of like going no contact with societal narcissism from a large segment of societal narcissism. And like I said, when you go no contact with anything narcissistic, you're going to get a clarity about things, which was part of the reason why I did it. And after I was able to clear up a lot of that fog and minutia that Facebook was causing, okay, the red flags started popping up. Became much more evident. Deleting Facebook is going no contact with societal narcissism. The more social media you're actually able to delete, the more no contact you go with societal narcissism. That's it. Whether it be religious-based, technology-based, Facebook-based, jealousy-based. Like, what's been going on with all of people? What's been going on? You know, I tell you what, exactly. I deleted Facebook, and it's no contact with a large segment of societal narcissism. And I'm seeing a lot more clarity, and red flags are popping up, which is what happens when you go no contact. When people were alone or ostracized, the idea there was a known unknown spirit who still loved them was their comfort. When a celebrity was expanded to radio and TV, it tripwired our brains to feel you had companionship. This formed parasocial relationships and limerence, feeling close and connected to someone you would never meet and doesn't care about you. Now with social media, everybody can extort love and attention. The sky's the limit. Same with dating apps. Everything has been distorted into a kind of business transaction. Identity is being evaluated in 1 second intervals. Swipe left, right, left, right, left. Who wants to settle for a mundane, ordinary existence if you can extract adoration from an automat full of fans vying for your attention in a sea of endless possibility? Is any one path acceptable? But for every trend, there is a backlash. A lot of the new pups are seeing for all the McMansions, vacations, extravagance, and trappings of success prior. They want to go the other way to minimalism. They see the more you own, the more it owns you. They see the corruption and hypocrisy of organized religion as well, and yearn for a simpler connection. Yeah, you mean the children? Yeah. This generation of kids is going to reject this whole SJW technology thing hard. Why? Because they're your kids, and they're your parent. You're their parents. And no teenager wants to think their parents are cool. So they usually want to do the opposite of what their parents are doing. And the problem they have is that you have parents in this case. And here's where their own medicine, their own tactic is going to be used against them. Because they've empowered so many of these children to think they're smarter than their parents. When they do decide to rebel against their parents' bullshit policies and SJW nonsense, the children are going to be the ones with the facts and the ones who are going to be right. So these idiots may actually end up proving these kids right, though they were doing it to try to set up some weird social structure. Okay? When these kids rebel, and they are rebelling, and they are going to rebel against you politically, and that means they're going to go hard right, which is why they want to make channels like Crowder and other people the whole purge is about. They make it worse. No teenager wants to be like their kid. Shit, man. Susan Wachowski, whatever her name is, from YouTube's son was watching Ben Shapiro videos. She couldn't get him to stop. What does that tell you? That tells you everything you need to know. Either transhumanism will be embraced and humanity will meet an inevitable fate to extinction, or people will take sledgehammers to those deranged hellhound-looking machines. Maybe we can embrace getting our hands dirty, chasing kids in the sun, and not be ashamed to live by the sweat of our brow. In the past, the glistening, sanitized, mechanical future seemed perfect from afar. See 1939 World's Fair. It has now become Wall-E, like a fattened cattle in a fluorescent pen, being herded from one distraction to the next, a bloated, passive populace on their way to the slaughterhouse. I just wanted to bounce some ideas off everyone, discuss. To paraphrase Plato, all I know is that I don't know anything. You're saying the same thing I'm saying, Teresa. And you go you leave these social media programs. You go in no contact from societal narcissism, and you will get clarity. And I think honestly, that's a lot of what's been going on with my channel the last couple days, the last couple weeks since I deleted that program. And I got to be honest with you. Even last night when I set everything to private and everything went quiet, I had a very calming feeling of, well, if this happens, well, now I know. Because it is a relief. And I think if you're able to delete these programs, as many of them as possible, you're going to get more and more clarity in your life, and you're going to be seeing more, and you're going to be happier, and you could actually live your life instead of trying to show your life. That's what societal narcissism has done, made us compete against everyone on little tiny machines. Delete the programs. You go no contact with societal narcissism. So, hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story, Teresa. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.